Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather. So we are back. There was that crazy blackout yesterday in parts of Europe, so there was no way to make an update. But we wish we could have done an update yesterday because there was another enhanced risk added further south yesterday, and that moderate risk that you knew, of course. So hope everybody stayed safe from those storms yesterday, and let's see today what's happening for April 29th. So there's this enhanced risk in two areas, spots of Texas and Oklahoma, and also from Kentucky to New York, in parts of Ohio and Indiana, and also West Virginia, Northern Kentucky, Pennsylvania, New York. So be careful those areas. There's Texas, Oklahoma, and there's this big slight risk all the way from Texas to New York, and the bigger marginal risk. So be careful in those areas. There's 5% tornado threat. The first enhanced risk from Texas to Oklahoma, and also 5% tornado threat from Ohio to New York. So be careful in those areas as well. The more elevated tornado threat. There's this bigger 2% tornado threat goes all the way from Texas to northern New York. So a very big area. Be careful in those areas. And if you are in Canada, I would watch this as well because there are some severe storms today in Ontario too. And if we were to extend this 2% to include Canada, parts of Ontario would have a tornado threat as well. So be careful in those areas. And there's wind threat, 15 and 30%, and the bigger 5%. And there's like the 30% in the enhanced risk from Kentucky to New York. So be careful, some damaging wind gusts, and also in Canada, there, Ontario and Quebec, some damaging winds. And this area in Texas and Oklahoma might have some storms with some significant gusts and significant damaging winds. So be careful in that hatched area there. There's hail too, 30% hatched in Texas and Oklahoma, and the hatched goes all the way to Arkansas and Missouri. So there could be some very intense storms this afternoon and evening, spots of Texas and all the way to Arkansas. So please be careful those areas. There's also the 15% hail from Ohio to New York as well. So be careful in those areas in the 5%. So let's see. There's like scattered severe thunderstorms are possible within a broad swath of the lower Great Lakes, southern high plains, mainly during this afternoon to evening. Corridors for greater threat are expected upper Ohio Valley into the lower Great Lakes, parts of West Texas into southwest Oklahoma. So be careful in those areas. There's here still no already a severe thunderstorm watch spots in Missouri, into Ohio, northern Arkansas, and the flash flood watches, the flood watches there, spots of Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas, and even Kansas, and some wind advisories near not Michigan's, also some special weather statements or severe thunderstorm warnings already in some areas. So be careful. In Canada, we already have a severe thunderstorm watch in parts of Ontario as well, into Quebec. And these emojis here are lightening the areas that already have thunderstorms. So let's see in Ontario, the severe thunderstorm watch. They do say here, if here, conditions before but the severe thunderstorms can reduce in strong wind gusts, large hail, and heavy rain. And we remember that severe thunderstorms can produce tornadoes, so water-related activities as well may be unsafe due to violent and sudden gusts of wind over bodies of water. Lightning can kill, and yes, so please stay safe, especially the wind, hail, but especially if there are tornadoes. And they do say on this other severe thunderstorm watch further south in Ontario, damaging wind gusts up to 110 km per gusts. Those thunderstorms, hail up to 3 to 4 centimeters, and risk of a tornado as well. So this afternoon into early evening. So be careful. A cold front moving through the area is expected to trigger severe thunderstorms this afternoon. So be careful. There are other warnings if you want to check out as well. Freezing rain warning spots of Quebec, and the west is quiet except for a blizzard warning in Yukon. So check this link in the description as well to see it there. So be careful in those areas. There's the HER model for today, those severe storms in the northeast, and we'll see parts of Canada as well. So shows later some storms initiating spots of Ohio, some initial severe storms, and those ones continue there in spots of Ontario, some stronger to severe storms. This goes later shows Illinois and spots of the Midwest, those storms coming, and many storms around Ontario and southern Quebec, especially the ones southern Ontario might be more severe. So this goes later in the afternoon throughout most of northern New York, and more spots in Pennsylvania, show some stronger ones in the Midwest and Kentucky. So this goes and shows later in the northeast some more, but especially later into the night, evening, stronger ones in still in Kentucky and West Virginia. So be careful, especially shows these initial ones in New York might be strong in terms of wind, especially the line of storms, and those initial ones might have a tornado threat as well. And still later, but by the evening, shows some strong ones in Quebec there, even northern Vermont in this Gulf. So be careful of these storms. But now in Texas, Oklahoma, different situations. So shows that heavy rain Oklahoma and Kansas now into Missouri. So we'll talk about that as well. But shows later in the evening some storms faring in northern Texas. You see those very strong cells there, even some whites. This goes even shows in northern Mexico some more of western Texas. So this goes there, especially later in the afternoon, those very strong cells in northern Texas into Oklahoma. I see more in Oklahoma too. So those ones could pose a very big hail threat and a tornado threat as well. So be careful. Those storms have ways to receive warnings, and after that just becomes a big line there. More damaging winds and more embedded tornadoes maybe, and some hail, especially hail. So be careful. By night times shows this blob of heavy rain, more flash flooding possible into tomorrow as well. So please be careful. Those areas shows here the Cape as well, and that shows some Cape this afternoon reaching as far north as southern Canada, spots of Ontario and Quebec, even some Cape for those storms. But the northeast shows spots of Pennsylvania, some more, Ohio especially to 1000 joules per kilogram, southern Ohio even to 1500, like that quarters more than 2000 joules per kilogram, and some Cape in New York too for those storms. But in the afternoon, especially Texas and Oklahoma, upwards of 3000 joules per kilogram. So be careful. This goes still shows in the evening some Cape, but the storms start eating the Cape up. So stay safe. There's dew points, shows like those areas as far north as Quebec, some 50s dew points. 4 is in New York, especially further down Pennsylvania and Ohio, some 50s dew points. That yellows are 60s, so some widespread 60s dew points, spots of the Midwest until the cold front comes and you see above in the upper plains, the upper Midwest is already cold. So this goes, especially the late afternoon, Oklahoma and Texas, some high 60s dew points. But spots as far north as New York might get close to 60, so that's a big warm sector still, and a lot of moisture for those storms. So be careful in those areas. There's now the significant tornado parameter. Let's see if the HER shows something here. So this is 19Z this afternoon. Alright, start showing some stuff in Texas, very light in Oklahoma, but start showing some pop-ups there in Texas. So be aware. In Ohio, start showing. This changes all the time, so don't pay attention on close details and locations. Just focus on the general outlook. But even shows in Canada, there's some tornado parameter spots of Quebec and Ontario. So there are some slight tornado chances there. You should be careful. And then later in the evening, 21C still shows in western Texas, some higher ones in some isolated spots there. And late about 1Z, nothing really that crazy, but still in southern Oklahoma and Texas, some more probabilities. So be aware those areas. And does show the updraft Jalisco, the full run, if I get the right one. So here it does show uh, those storms there, especially Texas and Oklahoma. The HUR has some very strong tracks that indicating like very large hail and basically supercells and tornadoes and damaging winds. So it shows some very strong ones, more into Arkansas, even to Missouri. So this sector of northern Texas is to be watched very closely. And some in Indiana, the HUR shows as well, and also in Quebec and Ontario, it shows some in New York. So be careful those areas, stay safe. There's now day 2 for tomorrow. It does show like a slight risk still for Wednesday. April 30th shows spots of Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas as well. The slight risk, the bigger marginal risk goes all the way from Texas to Ohio. So be careful in those areas. There's still a 5% tornado threat tomorrow, Texas into Arkansas and Oklahoma. So be careful. There's a 2% as well. We gotta watch this. There's like wind, a 15 or 5% in those areas. And what just happened here? There's hail. The hail split in two. There's this area in Texas and Oklahoma, 15 and 5%, and also this 5% from Missouri to Kentucky, Indiana, spots of Illinois and Ohio. So be aware there as well. And this is, yeah. Scared severe thunderstorms are possible Wednesdays, centered on central Texas and eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas. Large hail, damaging wind, and a few tornadoes will be possible with thunderstorm activity. So be careful those areas Wednesday, tomorrow. Yeah. And there's day 3, still shows this big marginal risk all the way from Texas to New York, and some general risk of storms. So be aware. Scared that thunderstorm development is expected from central Texas to the Mississippi and Ohio valleys, northward to the Great Lakes. Thunderstorms pose a risk for strong to severe winds and some hail for Thursday. So be careful Thursday, and day 4 for 8 is still nothing. So be careful. There's like the fire outlook, even in the mid Atlantic, there shows some elevated fire danger. So be careful. And Texas, New Mexico, be aware there too. There's day 2 if it loads here, because this is so weird. And let's see, I think it might work. It's almost there. Yeah. I don't know why it's taking so long usually. Here, day 2. So it still shows us a small elevated spots of Texas, western Texas and New Mexico for day 2. So be aware there, and yeah, stay safe. There's this freezing rain, spots of Ontario and Quebec. Today, as I showed, the freezing rain warnings there, those storms too. And this snow should continue in 2 spots of Quebec and Labrador Wednesday, Thursday, and still some freezing rain possibly, even to northern Newfoundland Thursday. And still shows this next system here, Friday, some snow in Quebec and Ontario, Friday and Saturday into Labrador, some snow potentially. So be aware those areas. There's still some snow in the Rockies around Wyoming and Montana. Thursday shows even finger to Colorado. Thursday, Friday, and then the European has more storms in the plains around Friday, and around Texas Saturday. Still has even storms in the mid-Atlantic northeast Saturday. The Europeans like this bigger front that goes away on Sunday. So we'll keep watching this, but be aware. And as of Tuesday, today, there's still some snow spots of British Columbia and Alberta, the mountains, still in Saskatchewan. There's this snow like central northern Canada, spots of Yukon and northwestern territories as well. And some freezing rain in specific locations. So in Nunavut, some snow as well. And into Wednesday, northern Quebec. So Thursday still shows Friday On the Pacific, in Alaska, more snow, spots of British Columbia and Yukon, and some freezing rain in the northwestern territories a little bit. So be aware, Saturday, especially in Alaska, a big blob of snow Saturday, Sunday, especially Saturday in Alaska. Be careful, more snow, and might have some snow spots of Oregon to Northern California as well, in Washington. Saturday, so this goes, and more thunderstorm activity spots of the west next Monday, some snow in California. Still, Monday, next Tuesday, still shows more storms. And the Europeans trying to burst a crazy, severe thunderstorm event next Tuesday. Then it goes, and still later, the Europeans kind of crazy. But we'll keep watching. Be aware, those areas for the GFS, there's like here, it shows, let's select another one. So the 60 GFS shows there's low pressure now near Alaska with some snow. At the same time, this other one, northeastern Canada, that snow as well. And those storms in the US. So this goes, shows like this about Friday, this rain into the northeast and spots of Canada, more snow. Still shows by Sunday some snow northern Canada, spots of northeastern Canada as well. The low pressure in the Pacific near Alaska and western Canada, that snows Saturday, not Saturday, this Tuesday, right? So this goes Tuesday, next Wednesday, right? This already May 8th, shows more snow spots of western Canada and also in the north. And then the GFS does show some more storms like Tuesday in the plains. The GFS has another round of storms in Texas and Oklahoma. It does shows pretty strong there, spots of Kansas too. And then this goes, let's see if it shows something else interesting. So like, let's see if it has dew points or something, but I don't know if it's available here. But I'll show you in another one because here is kind of weird. But be aware, those areas. There's here now the European, just to analyze later in the future. So it shows like today's Tuesday, to Wednesday, Thursday, shows Saturday, Sunday. Let's see if it has anything Saturday. It does have some storms lingering around, but the European actually gets those stronger storms next Tuesday, the same day as the GFS. So let's see what it has. It does have some 50 dew points to 60 in that time on Tuesday, but they aren't actually that high as I expected. The GFS has close to 60 dew points that time, late next Monday, Tuesday. We'll keep watching this, but nothing that crazy to think about right now. Just watching. There's Cape, and about next Tuesday, the GFS shows some Cape, but the European like shows many contained further south, but it does show some in Texas. Yeah, but in terms of thermodynamics, they won't be so favorable next week as they are now. But we'll keep watching in case any more severe weather pops up, because here about week 2 and 3 the long range model still has some supercell composite later in mid-May, especially like the first or second week of May still has some possible severe weather there to keep watching. So be aware, those areas, there's still like day 3 through 8, there's the Colorado State University. For day 3, that they have the marginal risk there, the SPC. They do have a similar thing. And later still has like day 6, day 7, mainly the SIPs is showing some weird stuff. But the Colorado State University does have for Tuesday, day 7, some possible severe. I think that's not Tuesday, that's 6 May, yeah, Tuesday, 6 May. So it still has day 8, like 5%, that's like very little, but worth to keep watching. So be aware. Just let's check what's happening with those temperatures here, because still shows now some below average temperatures. Spots of northern, central northern Canada. These above average temperatures ahead of that cold front spot to the northeastern U.S. In easternmost Canada. So this goal still shows some below average temperatures about next weekend, Saturday, even to the northern Midwest, spots of central northern Canada, and possibly some above average on the west again. This goes, and it still has below average temperatures in the southwestern US into northern Mexico, and still some below average until like May 10th, some above average, possibly later. So be aware. The European, a similar thing. So we'll keep watching that. And there's one thing that I didn't show that is very much important, and I hope you are still watching because this is very important. Shows like this moderate risk of excessive rainfall spots of Texas and Oklahoma for today, Tuesday, and this light risk from Texas to Illinois, and this marginal risk goes all the way to New York. So be careful in those areas, especially with flash flooding around Texas and Oklahoma and all the way to Illinois. So be careful. Don't drive through flooded roads and just stay away from flooding and higher ground. There's day two still a moderate risk, and 2 days in a row makes it even more dangerous because the ground's more saturated. So be careful. Spots special Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Spots of Texas. And there's this light risk as well, all the way from Texas to Missouri, and the marginal risk. So stay safe. Day three is just a marginal, goes from Louisiana to New York, and there's day four, a marginal in Texas, kind of a heart shape, and there's this marginal in the mid-Atlantic northeast for day four Friday, and day five next Saturday, a marginal in Nevada, and still in Texas for some storms. So be careful. There's still some winter storm severity index in the mountains, Wyoming, Colorado, and Montana, and yeah, be careful. Those areas does show 5 days here. The European model does have spots of, where is it here? Good. In Oklahoma, especially, the European has close to 4 inches, even to 5, 6 inches in spots of Oklahoma, some 3 inches, even Missouri to 3, close to 4 inches in southern Kansas, and especially northern Texas has some 4 inches, 3, 4 inches. So be careful the heavy rain, and it shows more spots of the northeast, the east and west, more rain as well. Central west 1, 2 inches, more scattered rainfall, and even Florida might start uh, getting some drought relief. So show some less than an inch in the next 5 days, but that's something. And the Panhandle. So be aware. And there's like 7 days shows more in the plains there, especially Texas. And there's the GFS shows central Oklahoma close to 5 inches. There's the icon has central southern Oklahoma like more than 6 inches. So stay safe, be careful. And there's here again the National Weather Service, and just day one they have close to 3 inches, just day one, even 3 to 4 inches. Day two still has in Arkansas, Oklahoma, close to 3 inches. Day one through seven, even more than 5 inches between Texas and Oklahoma. Day one through seven. So be careful. More through Texas, even New Mexico, and more spots of the west, more rain as well. So be careful in those areas. Still shows for rain spots of Canada too, more in eastern Canada, more rain in Nova Scotia as well. So be aware those areas, and still shows us some 40 millimeters in other spots there. British Columbia, some more, but they might include a mix of snow as well, because 5 days here does show spots of Quebec, even to 42 centimeters of snow, and more spots in Labrador, even to 48 centimeters, more in central Ontario, some spots in Ontario, even central Manitoba shows some snow, some 14 centimeters, more in Nunavut, be careful. some 15 centimeters, March 20 centimeters, 19, 20 shows spots of northwestern territories with more than 44 centimeters. Be careful in Yukon, more snow as well, in British Columbia, especially in the mountains, but northern British Columbia as well, and Alberta, western Alberta, spots of British Columbia, so stay safe. There's the GFS as well, it has more in eastern Quebec, even to 48, more in Ontario, and spots of Manitoba and western Canada too. There's the icon as well, especially in Labrador, some in Newfoundland, maybe northernmost Nova Scotia, but especially northwestern territories into Nunavut, be aware. So there's like wind gusts, of course, those thunderstorms and severe weather who have very strong winds, but let's see the wind now not related to severe weather shows some generally stronger gusts in spots of Michigan and Wisconsin, not strong, but like slightly stronger than normal. This goes shows strongest spots in New York as well, 44, 45 mile per gust. Some spots in Montana, slightly breezier. This goes maybe Maine and New Hampshire still shows even to 54 mile per gust. More spots Wednesday this goes into Canada, and then Thursday, Friday still shows a finger or two in the Midwest, slightly stronger. Thursday still in the Northeast possibly, and still a little bit stronger Friday, and still shows later Friday New York, and then this goes away. But does show potential some stronger winds in the west next Sunday near the coast of California, and also inland in some spots there. So Sunday, Monday, next Monday the 5th shows in the high plains in the Rockies and the desert southwest in Arizona. So this goes, the Europeans bursting some crazy wind gusts. It goes all the way from Mexico to Canada next Tuesday the 6th. The HFS is kind of thinking, but yeah, there's Tuesday and maybe more later. So be aware those areas, but it might change still. You never know. There's spots of Canada as well in Ontario today, Tuesday. Those strong gusts, even more than 80 km per gust, to 85 in some areas, so southern Ontario and Quebec. So Tuesday, this goes stronger in Quebec, even tonight and to Wednesday. In eastern Quebec, even to 93 km per gust in a few spots. So stay safe. Wednesday, the Europeans very crazy about easternmost Quebec, even to 113. The GFS just 77. The icons 97. So shows more spots of eastern Quebec Wednesday, Thursday, and especially maybe Thursday, northern Nova Scotia. Be aware, but this might change still. And shows in Western Canada doesn't show that much, just in the Arctic areas there. Further Thursday, this goes potentially another one, Southern Ontario, spots of Friday, sometime Friday, then this goes, maybe some strong winds in Newfoundland a little bit. Saturday, Sunday, does show northwestern territories, might be stronger about Sunday. So be aware, southern Alaska might be like very strong in the mountains, even to 70 to 80 mile per gust. So be careful. Monday, we might have some breezy conditions in Western Canada, and then the Europeans a low pressure into northern Quebec, and the GFS a big area of strong wind next Monday. It has this big low pressure into northern Quebec next Tuesday. So we'll keep watching, but be aware those areas there's still those temperatures, spots of northern Canada, those negative temperatures, very cold, some spots central Canada as well, those below average temperatures. During the morning, those negative temperatures reach as far south as Ottawa, and some spots central Canada slightly milder, but further north, like even to minus 23, some negative temperature spots of the west. So be aware Wednesday, Thursday still shows that mass of cold air dominating Nunavut and northwestern territories, even to Manitoba and Ontario, colder there. And then during the afternoon, even Alberta to 21 degrees, even to 22 degrees in British Columbia as well, and southern Ontario slightly milder and colder further north. During the night still shows colder, except the south and the north still much colder Friday, Saturday, and this keeps going there. Still by like Saturday afternoon, much milder in the west and still colder northern and eastern Canada. Just the northeast, southern Ontario is kind of fine. And then Sunday, this goes, and we might get a small taste of summer about Monday, even to 28 degrees, but that might change still, and shows Monday there. Still, those negative temperatures further west and the north, and this will keep changing and evolving. So be careful in those areas and stay safe. And for our last part here, the U.S. still shows those is in the south, even as far north as Pennsylvania today, colder in the Rockies, some 40s, 30s in the southwest, some 80s as well. During the night, even some 20s, 30s, upper Michigan and northern Wisconsin, Minnesota, and also Michigan itself, and shows more spots of the Rockies, especially Colorado and New Mexico, some 20 stings in the mountains, and some 30 scattered around as well. Wednesday morning, so Wednesday afternoon, some 90s possibly in the southwest, and some 80s, even 90 in Florida and southern Texas. So be aware in some colder spots in the Rockies and the Northeast. Thursday morning, still warmer in the south, but even some low teens in Wyoming, the mountains, some 20s, 30s, and the Northeast, some 30s as well in some areas. So by Thursday afternoon, much warmer across the west and across the south, southeast. Some 80s, 90s in Texas, and some 60s as far north as North Dakota, but still shows Friday morning some 40s in the plains, some spots of the Rockies to 20s, 30s, and even some 30s northernmost plains. There's still by Friday afternoon much warmer, even to 83 degrees in Washington and 85, some 90s in the southwest, more high 80s in the southeast. So be aware. Then there's Saturday morning, still colder in the north, northern Midwest and the plains, and this more chilly area. And then the warmer is contained further south. But Saturday afternoon, some is as far north as Montana, in the south, some 90s in the southwest, and yeah, and still by Sunday, much milder during the night, but still cold, especially Sierra Nevada, some teens, single digits, and some 30s, 20s in the mountains. And still by next Sunday, some is as far north as North Dakota, and especially in the south in Florida, much warmer, some 70s, but still cold in the Sierra Nevada and other mountains. Next Monday morning, still cold in the mountains, some 20s, teens, and 30s, but milder in other areas except northern Maine. And there's some 70s, some May is still by next Monday afternoon. So yeah, be aware. Sorry if I went too fast there. And still colder in the mountains. So be aware, there's still the max wind, especially in the Great Lakes, stronger today, and Montana, and maybe some other areas. There's snow in the Rockies next 2 days, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, even northern Utah, northernmost New Mexico, and parts of California. So be aware that precipitation, even more than 4 inches next 48 hours, and still no ice because all the ice is in Canada. But yeah, be aware in those areas. And here, just to see very quick if we can get the ice in Canada, but just like North America here, and freezing rain. So there's the GFS, shows more freezing rain close to the coast in Labrador, but does show a tiny bit in Ontario and Quebec as well. There's the European, let's see if it has a little bit more. Has some spots central Canada possibly, and that area off the coast as well. But yeah, stay safe.